This is Baruch Fleischman here at the Tikkun Elevator Kollel. And for those of you who are really interested in Rabbi Mimran, we're continuing going on and looking at these thoughts. Now the topic we're going to take up tonight in part 15 is the end of time. So just parenthetically, I was in a conversation a few years back at a Kiddush with a man who really only deals with scientific ideas, and he was telling me that time is not absolute, because they could say that you could drop something in someplace in Colorado, say for example, measure the amount of time that it takes for it to fall, go to the exact same place in another, at the exact same distance in another place, and you see that the amount of time is different. So I listened to that. It's interesting. It seems to be a fact. So, but the point is that in my mind, and I think that Rabbi Mimran is saying, is that the real reality is there's no such thing as time. Time is something that really matters to us because we have only a certain amount of time to be in this world, and we're conscious that is, our minds are conscious of that physicality, whether or not we're constantly thinking about it or not, but it's always here. And as a result of that, how long does it take to get to this, and how long does it take to that? Time has everything to do with our survival. Because you need time in order to be able to make a living. Time in order to be able to get along with people. So all of that is part of our world, but it's a construct which is based on the fact that we have an end to our lives. So therefore, it's our bodies, it's our minds that are really focused on the concept of time. But he wants to say in this blurb, and let's see what he says. In the timeless realm where God dwells, and the essence of everything that ever has been and ever will be, past, present, and future, all exists simultaneously in an unmanifested state of oneness and perfection. Now this phrase where he says, in an unmanifested state, means that it doesn't appear. It doesn't appear because it needs a keli, a form, in order to fit into. And once you have this form, because the forms themselves don't last forever. Let's see how it is it goes in time, the concept of time. Now he writes the end of time. He says the purpose of man's existence is to attach his soul to the higher world. That's the basis of this book, how to cling to eternity. Through this, he will be able to connect with him whom he is similar to. This is Makor Chaim. Now exactly what he meant, let's read it again one more time. The purpose of man's existence is to attach his soul to the higher world. No problem there. If you can attach yourself to the higher world, I'm thinking, through this, he will be able to connect with him, he means Hashem, who he is similar to. He's saying what? That we're similar to God, to the Ein Sof Baruch Hu, to the Eternal One. So what does he mean? God in his infinite wisdom has disguised soul in material forms for a definite purpose, as discussed in the book Shara Gilgulim, which translates the Gates of Reincarnation. This book was written by the Holy Arizal. Unfortunately, mankind has reached such complexity that this basic awareness has been completely lost. In present-day humans, consciousness is completely identified with its disguise, its outer form. That is, that our consciousness exists within our bodies. Once again, as I said in the opening, is that our bodies don't last. So therefore, we're completely subsumed into those bodies. That's the normal way of us. We care about our bodies. Now, the Torah says that we have to go out and make a living, right? So we have to deal with the world that we were born into. Wasn't the world that we could think of lots of different ways for the world to work, but this is the world that we're given. It only knows itself as form, and therefore lives in fears of the annihilation of its physical or psychological form. This is the egoic mind. This is where considerable dysfunction sets in as we relate everything to our bodies. So if you go right now, they have an LA Fitness near my house. People are out there pumping weights and running and doing all the things that it happens at LA Fitness, working on their bodies. Working on their bodies. But you know that your body is a losing proposition. But that's what we do. So he says, let's give a parable to understand this better. He says, there once was a young prince whose father, the king, felt that his son was ready to leave the comforts of the palace and challenged him to venture into the, quote, real world to become independent and gain a living on his own merit and strength. Concealing his identity and no one knowing who he really was, the young prince starts out on his journey with excitement and enthusiasm, but slowing feels his energy level becoming depleted. So I'm not sure how this grammar works in this sentence, but slowing feels his energy level becoming depleted as well as his money. So during time, he says that everything starts to slow down due to his ability to cope with the tremendous damage, the tremendous demands of his new life. With no other choice, he commences to work and enters the illusionary pursuit of wealth and happiness. Because, look, we're all trying to make a living, and we live here in America. If I'm speaking here in America, where there's job opportunities, you could create your own world here. So he gets so involved in that, and then he's trying to make himself happy. So over here we have movies, and we have all kinds of diversions to make ourselves happy. But it all has to do with this one idea. We're pursuing money. Over time, he noticed that his actions are not drawing him any closer to his goal, but rather immersing him in an ever-spiraling chase for the invisible and the unreachable. We can't live forever. We can't make $1 billion and take it with us. We won't stay. But nonetheless, that's where we go. One day, finding himself in a state of total exhaustion and close to a nervous breakdown, giving up all hope, he pauses. He's still and experiences a feeling of calmness, of assurance that all will be okay. There's nothing to fear. He's the son of the king. Now, Rabbi Mimran writes like this. This parable describes the journey of the soul that God implants in all things to live in this physical reality we call the earth. The animated body and the spiritual soul, now in a tight-knit relationship, are here on this planet to gain awareness of their Creator and gain perfection for themselves in both the physical and spiritual dimensions. This is done by following a prescribed set of rules devised by the ultimate wisdom of God Himself in His Torah. Inside of the Torah is the pathway to be able to reach the stage. In order to transmute and transform themselves into elevated spiritual beings in the prescribed time limit of 6,000 years, if successful in his life's journey, that soul then lives in a state of ecstasy forever after. Now that is the concept of closeness, of drawing ourselves. This is the 7-step guide to clinging to eternity. He writes like this, the animated body and the spiritual soul now live in a tight-knit relationship, are here on this planet to gain awareness of their Creator. This is Baruch Fleischman. We're listening to the words of the holy Rabbi Yosef Chaim Mimran.